everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Sharon and this is a channel that is dedicated to all things related to narcissism. I make videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on all types of topics related to narcissism, so if you haven't already, please take a moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any videos. I would really appreciate it if you gave the video a thumbs up. It's a free way you can help me out, and definitely don't forget to leave a comment because I like to read what you have to say. So let's begin today's video with a little thought experiment. So imagine if I said to you, all right, you have a choice. You can be bitten by either an adult lion or a lion cub. Which would you choose? Now, I imagine, unless you literally don't have any brain cells, you would go with the lion cub. What about if I said to you, all right, so you passed the lion thought experiment. What about the rattlesnake thought experiment? You have a choice. You can either be bitten by the 6 or 7 foot long venomous rattlesnake, or you can get bit by this overgrown worm-looking thing that is a baby rattlesnake. Which would you choose? Now, I imagine if you didn't know much about snakes, you would think, well, definitely the baby. They would be less potent. Maybe their venom isn't even active. I don't know, but I guess I'd go with the baby. When it comes to the lion, you definitely want to go with the cub. When it comes to the rattlesnake, though, looks can be very deceiving. You would absolutely, if you had the choice, would want to be bitten by the adult. Now, that is not to say that getting bitten by an adult rattlesnake is not going to be the worst thing that will ever happen to you. But if we're playing an odds game, you have better odds of surviving an adult rattlesnake bite. And the reason for this is that rattlesnakes, or all venomous snakes, they don't always envenomate you. They can give what's called a dry bite. They are able to control their venom. Sometimes, I think about a snake, I think people get afraid of snakes and think that a snake wants to attack them. It's not true. A snake attacks only to protect itself. If you think about a snake, it doesn't have claws and, paws or any way to defend itself. It's long and skinny and it only has its mouth. That's it. The majority of its body, it's just this long tube, so it doesn't have any way to protect itself. So if a snake feels threatened, even if it isn't, like you might not be threatening, but if the snake thinks you are, they'll bite. However, it might not be a venomous bite. It might be a dry bite. If the snake thinks it can just get away, that's really what it wants to do. They're very shy. They just want to get away. A baby venomous snake, though, it's very different. They're so much smaller. They don't have that scare factor that an adult has. They always bite to kill. That's what they do. They want to get, they're afraid. They're terrified. They'll never do a dry bite. I don't even know if they can control it the way an adult can. But if you're bitten, and the venom is very potent. So if you're bitten by a baby rattlesnake, that is 100% going to be the worst day of your life. Now, this kind of brings me into narcissism. Now, I know a lot of people are comparing narcissists to snakes. I'm not doing that, but I'm just talking about a covert narcissist. How if we're looking at a covert narcissist, the way that they appear is not how they really are. My father and my ex-father-in-law are both overt narcissists. There is no mistaking who they are. You meet them today. The first time you meet them, you know who they are. Now, you might not know, if you don't know anything about narcissism, you might not know, oh my gosh, this person's a narcissist. But you would know that they were high on themselves. You would know that they think they're better than everybody else. That's how they come off. Not so when it comes to a covert narcissist. And in today's video, we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about 5 ways that covert narcissists manipulate us. Now, covert narcissists are dangerous because they can seem shy and awkward, but they are anything but. They are dangerous because right from the get-go, they're plotting and planning to hurt you. You are the scapegoat. A narcissist wants you to use you. That's how it is. And with a covert, you don't know. You think you're meeting or you're in an entanglement or relationship at the time with a great person, having no idea you are in a trap. So the first one that I'm going to talk about is love bombing. Now, this is typically how people get involved, and this is more of a romantic thing. But when people are in romantic relationships with a covert narcissist, it typically will begin with love bombing. The narcissist will act in a way that is not them. They're pretending to be somebody else. They're acting. And they do it long enough to get you in their grips. That's what they're looking for. Once they have you, it's going to change. When I first met my ex, I believed that he was kind of shy and awkward, like a big teddy bear type of guy. That's what I thought of him. I was his first girlfriend. He'd never had another girlfriend before me. Now, I did think that was a little bit weird because he was in his late 20s, but I thought, wow, he's really shy and awkward. I thought maybe this is a good thing, So here we are, and we're dating, and he was so sweet. I don't think for the first 2 months or so I ever saw him when he didn't have flowers for me. Now, that was not a typical thing that happened to me. Every single time I saw someone, them having flowers for me, or he'd get me these little gifts or cards. I mean, he was over the top. But that's how I knew him. I didn't know him any other way. So I'm thinking, wow, like this is how he was. Wow, I'm really lucky. This is amazing. He's so kind. He's so sweet. He wasn't my type. That's the thing. My ex was not my type. His personality with the love bombing was part of what won me over to him, but it was all a lie. Now, as time went on, so when we were first dating, so the first 2 months, he was the luckiest guy in the world. Everybody else was jealous of him because he was with me, like that type of thing, he would say. As time went on, though, that really started to change. So once he was getting off the love bombing stage, a couple things happened. One is that we went to a wedding together. So we went to somebody's wedding, and remember, my ex hadn't had a relationship before me. So his friends, he was in a fraternity, so he had a lot of fraternity friends. They've never seen him with a girl. So when they saw me, it was just like, wow, he has a girl with him? It was weird for them. And they were teasing him about it. And a couple of the guys said to him, oh, hey, how'd you get her? What type of blackmail do you have on her? He was livid that they said that. He was really upset about it. And I got punished for that. I was given a silent treatment. Even though I didn't do anything, I was just there with him. I didn't even know these people. But that's what they said, and he was livid about it. A similar thing happened the day after we got married. So we got married at a hotel. And while we were in the lobby the next day, the hotel manager came over to me. And he told me, oh, we loved the way your hair was, your dress. We think you would be perfect to be in a brochure advertising weddings for the hotel. Now, my ex was not supposed to be in this. He wasn't in this because for him, for the hotel, they didn't want the groom. They just wanted a picture of the bride. That's all they wanted. I mean, you know how it is for a wedding. It's really the bride's show. I know the groom's there too. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's just how it is. So they wanted just me. He was so livid. Now, I had nothing to do with this. I had no idea they were looking for anybody. Like, someone came up to me, the manager came up to me. My ex acted as though I personally sought this out, that I personally was trying to exclude him, that he was included, but I worked some magic and had him not included at all. It wasn't true, but my ex was livid about this. And as time went on, it just got worse and worse. Towards the end, he had convinced himself that I was flirting with all men everywhere under any circumstances. So I called the police over to my house a few times. When I had to call the police to my house, these were terrible moments. I was afraid. That's why I called the police. I have 2 kids. I was afraid that my kids are in danger. I was afraid I was in danger. My ex is literally 3 times my size. I didn't know what he was going to do. He's obviously unstable and ill. And here he is threatening us, breaking into the house, hurting himself in front of us. I'm calling the police at these times. But according to my ex, when the police came over, the reason that he had to leave was because I was flirting with these police officers. That's what I was doing. And he's convincing himself of this. He told me this. Oh, you're flirting with these people? And then he was telling the police, she's flirting with you. You're letting her get away with this. It was all lies. Then, after he got kicked out of the house and he was so bad, Child Protective Services was involved, he actually agreed to go to a psychiatrist somebody had asked me in the comments recently how I got my ex to go to a doctor. The way I got him to go to a doctor was because at this time when I had to kick him out of the house because Child Protective Services was involved, that for me was like, and it bothers me. I've had to examine myself for this, that it took me that long to actually end the entanglement because that's what ended it. But anyways, so I told him he couldn't come back. He was at that point very willing to do whatever it took to get back together with me. So he went to a psychiatrist. At the time I told him he couldn't come back to the house if he didn't see a doctor. So he went to see a psychiatrist. So I went with him. The psychiatrist told him that he had narcissistic personality disorder. He was officially diagnosed. But according to my ex, it's all a lie. It's all because of me. Because I, of course, was flirting with a psychiatrist. I mean, I guess maybe in retrospect, I should have seen a female, but maybe he would have said that too, that I was flirting with her. I don't know. But here he was telling me that I somehow, like the powers I have, right? I was able to convince a psychiatrist that he has a mental disorder that he doesn't have because I was flirting with a psychiatrist. So that's a perfect example of how love bombing begins and how it ends. Narcissists are lying to you. They don't really feel the way that they say that they do. The truth will come out. So my ex, he was insecure about the way that he looked, and he did not like that anybody ever gave me attention for my own looks. So that was it. He was the one that he had to make sure that I paid. And that really is how it is with a narcissist. So the first one is love bombing. The second one that I'm going to talk about is gaslighting. Now, gaslighting could also be called confusion. Narcissists specialize in this. They specialize in you questioning your own reality. So what gaslighting is when a narcissist will tell you something you know happened, but the narcissist will tell you it didn't happen. Now, it's important to remember that this can be very effective when you don't know your partner is working against you, and you believe that the narcissist is on your side. You don't think they're lying to you. So they can really cause a lot of harm. And I'm very familiar with this. I'm familiar with gaslighting from both my ex and my father. I grew up this way. Now, as an overt narcissist, my father was not shy about telling you what he really thought. If he thought you didn't look good, he would tell you. If he thought something was wrong with you, he would tell you. So over the course of my lifetime, my father has said some pretty horrific things to me. And there was at one point, I told my father something he said. I can't remember how it came up, but I told him something he had said. And he actually said to me, well, that's horrible. If I had really said that, I could understand you never wanted to talk to me again. And I'm thinking to myself, you did really say that. So then I'm getting all confused because I'm like, does he know this? Does he not remember that he said this? He did say this, right? That's gaslighting. They will absolutely confuse you. Like you don't know what's going on. A narcissist does these things intentionally. They're playing games with you. They like you sitting there confused. Did this happen? I think this happened. And when you don't know who you're with, you don't know you're with someone working against you, you believe that they're being honest with you, you can really start to question yourself. Did this happen? I think this happened. Maybe it didn't. He's saying it didn't. He seems so sincere. I don't know what to do. That's gaslighting. The third one I'm going to do, because I can't discuss manipulation tactics without mentioning lying. Now, of course, the first two, love bombing and gaslighting, are both based on lies. At their core, narcissists are liars and opportunists. It's really their bread and butter. My ex used to do this weird thing with lying because I caught him in so many lies that at the end, the last couple of years, say, I knew he was a liar. He knew that I knew this. So he used to say to the kids, like if something came up about lying in any way, like it was something that was on TV or the kids mentioned something about somebody lying, my ex would all of a sudden, just like dead serious, say to the kids, Mommy hates liars. You know your mother hates liars, right? Like it was just like out of place. It was a weird thing for him to say. But he used to say that all the time. Now, I'm not talking about projection in this video, but this kind of is projection with a narcissist. A covert narcissist, they project who they are onto other things, onto other people. So when he's saying that Mommy hates liars, I think he was like just thinking to himself, this is how she feels about me. I am a liar and she must hate me. Of course, he wasn't far from the truth on that, but that's what they do. A narcissist lies easily. It doesn't bother them to lie. For most people, I mean, of course, everybody lies. I'm not trying to say that I've never said a lie in my life, but the way that a narcissist does it, they lie to get what they want. I mean, they are, when I say they're opportunists, they are opportunists. The fourth one I'm going to talk about is smearing. Now, smearing is to a narcissist, oh, they just love that. They love to ruin your reputation. Have you ever heard someone say that a lie gets halfway around the world before the truth has a chance to get its pants on? That's kind of like a narcissist with our smearing. Narcissists are working against you from the get-go. This is the thing. A lot of people think of smearing as happening after a breakup. A narcissist will say all these horrible things about you. But the scary thing is that it actually is happening during the entanglement as well. You just don't know it. They're planting seeds. A narcissist one of the things that they do is they want other people to think that you're crazy. That makes them look good. Like, oh, this crazy person is horrible. So using that as an example, they will start to plant little seeds in other people's minds early in the relationship. So they'll say things, they'll make up some story about you. It's not true, but they'll just say it like, oh, yeah, well, you know how my wife is. She's always, causing some problems. She's always spending so much money. It's like I can't get a hold on it. My ex used to say that about me. My ex, right now, today, as I'm making this video, is $100,000 in debt. I had no idea. And this happened again earlier in the entanglement too. He would get in debt all the time without telling me. And then I would find out. And I found out one time his mother happened to tell me that, so I'll tell you, my ex-mother-in-law actually told me that my ex told her that I had spent all this money. And I can remember, I thought it was so strange. He has like a little thing that just like, it made me think of this when she was talking about that. I didn't spend the money. My ex spent it all. It was all behind my back. But I remember seeing my mother-in-law, my ex-mother-in-law a few times, and she would comment on things that I had. Like she would say to me something like, are those new pants? Is that a new pair of pants you have? Oh, is that a new purse you have? And now when I think about it, the reason she wasn't being like, oh, that's a nice purse. She was saying it because she's thinking to herself in the back of her mind, oh my gosh, my son is right. Look at her. She's spending all this money. That's a new purse. Does she have new pants on? That's what happens. So people are starting to doubt you. People are starting to think, oh my gosh, she really is this way. So when you end the entanglement, by the time it's over, people will say to themselves, wow, yeah, he was really right. Look at how she is. She's doing this, she's doing that. Like me, I left the state. So I can imagine my ex is telling people, I told you she was crazy. She was always like this. Look, she stole my kids from me. She took the kids. That's why I don't have a relationship with them. I want a relationship, but she took them. What am I supposed to do? I'm just like this poor innocent victim. Then they get lots of pity. And, I was telling Joe recently, my ex goes to AA. I can see him at AA talking about what happened. Like I can see him standing up there talking about everything that happened, and then with his little self-congratulatory praise on himself. Oh, and I'm not drinking, even though my wife took off with the kids. I didn't even know. I let her have the house. She was living there, and then she didn't pay the mortgage that last month, and that really hurt me. I'm just trying to be sober, trying to be a good person. I can hear him say these lies, but that's what a narcissist will do. They want to ruin your reputation because for them, everything is a competition, and they must come out at the top. That's how the narcissist is. And the fifth one I'm going to talk about is discouraging and criticism. Narcissists are not on your side. And oh, do they love to discourage you and criticize you. The thing to understand about a narcissist is that they are miserable beings. They have no confidence in themselves. They can't do anything. At the beginning of the video, I was talking a little bit about rattlesnakes. And some of you know that I actually really like snakes and reptiles. I have a snake breeding business. And when I decided to have this business, when I started this business, of course, my ex was not on my side. He thought to himself, he said, oh, you're never going to be able to do that. Who's going to buy a snake from you? You're never going to be able to breed snakes. You won't even be able to produce babies. There's no way you're going to be able to do that. It wasn't, wow, that's great. Oh, go for it, honey, whatever. But instead it was, you're never going to be able to do this. So, but I did it anyways. And the reason that I began my whole snake breeding business to begin with was because I realized one day, I thought, like my ex would tell me all these things he was going to do. He was going to take me on this vacation. He was going to buy me this. He was going to do that. And I just realized one day, anything that has to do with finances, anything financial, he's never going to do it. Like he's not going to do it. Like there's this bracelet that I really want. And I was like, oh my gosh, he is never going to buy that for me. I'm going to have to buy it myself. But I was like okay with it at that point. I was like, you know what? Why can't I buy it myself? I don't need him to buy me these things. I can do it myself. So that was how this whole thing started. I decided I'm going to go for it. So even though he was very discouraging, I did it anyways. And when I first produced babies, I can't believe you did. Wow, like he was like in shock, or he appeared to be in shock. Then when I sold them, people bought this from you? Oh my gosh. And he loved that I made money selling snakes. But it was always something that he discouraged me at. Oh, you won't be able to do this. And it was really with many other things like homeschooling as well. When I wanted to homeschool the kids, well, you're not a teacher. How are you going to be able to homeschool the kids? That's not going to work out. And the thing is, with my ex, I guess I kind of lucked out in some ways because he didn't care. He didn't think I was going to be able to homeschool the kids effectively, but he didn't care. He was, whatever. Oh, well, if you ruin their education, you ruin their education. With no sweat off of his brow. However, now that it's at the end, my daughter is about to graduate in a couple of weeks. She has done so well in her schooling. Now, I haven't exclusively homeschooled her. She's taken online classes too. She gets straight A's. My daughter has written 5 books. So here's my ex telling me, oh, you're never going to do it. They're going to fail. It's going to be horrible. Here she is. She's doing fantastic. My son is too. Don't get me wrong. My son is in 10th grade. The difference between my son and my daughter is that my daughter is very, very ambitious when it comes to school. My son is, all right, now what do I have to do? I know part of it is just his age. But yeah, so here's my ex telling me I can't do anything. And then when I actually do something, he says I can't do, it's almost like, oh, how did that happen? Well, I guess you just must have been lucky. Or that's because, whatever happened, it was never because I actually put effort forth. So there are many other ways that covert narcissists will manipulate you. These were just some of them, but it's important to remember a covert narcissist is so dangerous because you don't know what they're capable of until it's too late. So it's important to know these signs, like to recognize, all right, is this too good to be true? Because like they say, if something's too good to be true, it usually is. So thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it. I hope everybody has a great day and a great weekend. Joe and I will be back with you on Monday. And, I mentioned in the community page that we're going to do a contest. And my daughter said to me, she's like, don't say contest. It's not a contest. It's a giveaway. So Joe and I are doing a giveaway. And we're going to announce that on Monday. So look forward to that. And other than that, I guess that's it. I will see you all on Monday. God bless.